What episode is this, Benny?
25.
Episode 25 of the Real Talk Podcast is your host, Joey.
And Thomas.
And if you like what you're hearing, please like, subscribe, and comment down below.
How you doing?
You know, today has been a day.
Yeah, what'd you do today?
So we had a shoot today. Came back, did a podcast, doing another podcast. Have a shoot again tomorrow, you know, but the hustle continues.
What do you got tomorrow?
Tomorrow, we got our boy Corey.
Corey? Tomorrow's my birthday.
On TP's birthday tomorrow, everyone. I'm excited. Are you excited for your birthday?
I am. I mean, I go away Thursday, so I kind of got to get a lot of stuff done before I leave.
I feel like every time you go on vacation, it's always like a struggle to like get your ducks in a row. You know what I mean?
I think people here, and then they're like, we got to book real quick.
Go on vacation? All right, let's get them with 10 million shoes.
Yeah, but it's all good. So who do we have on today?
Today, we have Phyllicia Victoria. She's a yoga instructor, wellness influencer, and a sound bath facilitator based in New Jersey and New York City. She has grown a strong presence on social media and has over 182,000 followers on Instagram. Phyllicia has been practicing yoga since high school and considers it to be a moving art and meditation. She teaches various types of yoga, including vinyasa flows, meditation, yin, and sound baths, using crystal singing bowls infused with different crystals to connect the chakras to the deeper self. Everyone welcome Phyllicia Victoria. What did you think of the intro? I hope it was good.
It was awesome. Thank you so much.
How are you? Let me get the mic set up for you. Perfect. Happy sounding, Benny.
I don't know yet.
How we doing?
Well, hello there.
Hello.
How does that sound?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for the amazing intro.
Thank you for coming.
I appreciate it.
Awesome. So tell us, how did you kind of get into like the art of yoga and like wellness like in general?
So when I was growing up, long story short, I am the oldest of 7 children. My mother, she was an addict. I was raised with my grandparents. So like any young blossoming teenager, I had a lot of like aggression, a lot of emotions going on within me, and I was looking for a way to release it. So I was always an artist. I did painting and stuff in school, but I needed some sort of like physical attachment as well to just release the energy. And I tried different sports. I tried track. I'm 5'1". Like it's like I can do it, but I'm not gonna win any races. I did crew, rowing the boats. And then I discovered yoga. And then what I liked about yoga was how it connected the breath with the mindfulness and how it's an individual practice. So it's like you progress as much as you want to. You can go as soft as you want to. You can go as intense as you want to. And it really was good for my soul inside and out.
Did you find any difficulties in meditating at first?
Oh, yeah. Like actually... Like I hated meditating. Like I much preferred moving my body. Like meditation for me was way more difficult than any physical movement, because it's literally like when you're sitting still, it's a combination of like oil and water. Literally everything just comes up to the surface and you're like, oh boy, like what are these feelings? What are these emotions? And not everybody knows how to manage it. Like a lot of people dislike meditating or have trouble meditating because of it. It's like, you know, to actually be still, to be present in yourself and your emotions. And a lot of times within our everyday lives, we just like kind of push stuff deep within us and are like, okay, I don't have time to cry or face this or yada yada. I have to go to work, or I have to handle my kids, or I have to do this, or I have to do that. So meditating was definitely difficult for me.
What are some tips you have if you're first starting to like learn how to meditate or just practicing meditation in general?
I would say just like don't overthink it. Like, you know, don't think that you have to necessarily like be frozen still, or that you have to be sitting a certain way with your legs crossed, or that it has to be a certain amount of time. Like literally, if you can meditate for 1 minute, give yourself a pat on the back. If you meditate for 5 minutes, cool. You know, don't give yourself a goal of saying like, I'm gonna meditate for an hour, and then like the hour's really hard and then you don't do it and then you're hard on yourself. It's like, just give yourself small increments of time to do it and just focus on the breath. And if thoughts come in, you know, let them come and then just let them go. And just realize that we are humans, we're living busy lives. So no matter what, things are gonna come up. It's not gonna be just this empty space in our mind while we're sitting there or laying down.
Yeah. And when did you know you wanted to tie in the content with everything? Did the content come first? Did it come natural afterwards? Or how did you know you wanted to kind of put yourself out there for like wellness, yoga, and everything like that?
So around like 2016, like I learned how to do a headstand, honestly. And I was just like everybody else, I was just sharing photos and videos on Instagram. And I started sharing my content. And at that time, there was these yoga challenges that were really, really popular. And with the yoga challenges, like you could win free yoga stuff, mats, and like everybody knows yoga stuff, it's expensive, it's not cheap. So I'm like, cool. I'm like, I'll take a cool photo, win some leggings, win-win situation. And then I started becoming more intentional about my photos because it's like I figured out that the better the photos were or more engaging they were, the higher the chance of winning was from the influencers, because at that time I was not necessarily an influencer. I was just a regular standby person. And then my page started to grow from that, and then I started reaching out to companies for exchanging and hosting challenges myself, and then companies started reaching out to me for my content, and it just kind of like grew organically. And that's how I am here now. And it wasn't necessarily a game plan, because I was an elementary school art teacher. I was literally teaching art and doing content at the same time. Yeah, it was like first it became like a little side thing that was for fun, and then eventually it became a full-time job that I had no idea. And now I do that full-time, and I left behind teaching. I love doing that, and I could always go back to teaching if I ever decide to. But yeah.
When did you know that you wanted to make that full-time jump? And was it hard for you to kind of let go of the teaching job, or scary?
Yeah, definitely it was scary, because I didn't come from money. So it's like I didn't have anybody to fall back on besides myself. So it was definitely a commitment, and I definitely had to, for myself, because I'm definitely a feeler sort of person, but I'm also logistics, like, what's actually logistically makes sense. It's like, I'm not trying to be a poor starving artist or poor starving yogi. Like, I live in this world, I like certain things, and certain things cost money. So it's like, and how am I able to make this sustainable? So after, the numbers started to make sense, and companies started to want me, and I knew what I had was something special, then I was able to say, okay, like, I feel really good about this now. And I don't think I can ever say the word safe, but I feel content and happy with the risk and the leap that I took. Because nothing's ever safe in life. Like, when you're really doing something that you're passionate about, there's always some sort of risk or something that, a chance that something may not work out. But it's like, are you willing to take that chance, or do you want to just live a life never knowing? Yeah.
I think the hardest part is the not knowing for any entrepreneur, anyone taking a risk. And I think the sacrifice is totally worth it. So when did you kind of grow the social media presence? Because I know you said you were looking for things in the post that like kind of blew up or kind of grew the audience or gained the attention. What did you see in the first initial post that kind of you're like, all right, I need to start doing more of this?
Like, it wasn't necessarily one specific post. It was a gradual increase, because it's like, even if on my page I have some of my beginning posts there, and I see my edits and whatnot, and it like slowly I started to become more intentional. Even my style sort of changed. Like, I was like figuring out like who I was myself through my Instagram posts that I was doing. And because I remember at one point I had like 5,000 followers, and actually, I will say there was a big jump point. There was a point where on Instagram my name was Yogi Goddess. And then I think when I decided to like change it to my actual name, that was like a big switch point, because it was like, it's not necessarily just being a yogi or just being a goddess. Like, I wanted to represent who I am. Like, I'm a person living in this world, seeking wellness, seeking ways to be happy, to be healthy, to be joyful. And that's what I want to offer. It's not necessarily like, what yoga pose can I do or this or that, but it's like, how can we encompass like everything?
Yeah. When did you kind of start looking at it as like a business?
I would say during the COVID lockdown. Well, prior to that I did, But during the COVID lockdown, like things got like really, really busy. And that's when I realized I was like, I need to like get this together.
Yeah.
Do you feel like a lot of people were reaching out during COVID about like, I have all this time to myself and all these thoughts. Like, how do I go about it?
Yeah, because for sure, like the yoga element was something that was being requested, but a lot of people during that time, it wasn't necessarily like the physical practice that people were seeking. They were really seeking like the mental health, wellness, the mindfulness, the meditation, because people were home alone. They were either home alone or they were home with their children, which they were not used to seeing that many hours of a day, or home with a partner that they weren't used to seeing that many hours a day. So there was an influx of emotions that people didn't know how to necessarily handle on their own. And they were like, oh, this is I guess now I need mindfulness, like this is what everybody's talking about.
Damn, that's crazy. I feel like during that time, like, people were seeking so many different outlets and just trying to escape, and like the different escapisms.
A lot of guests we have on, like when we ask them, like, when was that turning point for you? A lot of them point out like during COVID is when like things picked up. Or I realized I had to just take a chance on something else.
Yeah. Was there any sort of like influencers, like when you were first creating content, that you kind of looked up to or took inspiration from?
I would say a friend of mine, Koya Webb, she was definitely like, definitely inspired me. And now we're really close friends. And she's a woman of color. She does yoga, all the things I do, like in different ways. There's a lot of people. I can't like putting me on the spot. I can't think of anyone.
You're good.
There's so many people that I've like looked at, and now I'm actually like really close friends with those people, which is cool because it's like the virtual space. It's still a space in itself, and it connects a lot of people in different ways.
Were you the type to like reach out to them, like, hey, big fan of what you're doing, like any tips for someone at a lower level?
A lot in my beginning journey of being on Instagram, I used to love, I still do, but I would reach out to do like collaboration photo shoots with people because it's like fun to do like acro yoga or just see how different bodies connect. So I used to do a lot of those sort of photo shoots and would reach out to people that were in like the area that I was in, or if I was traveling and somebody happened to be in the same space, same time, it's like, hey, let's meet up and have some fun,
Yeah. Right now, like I was looking at your post, and you crushed it on Instagram, like super confident, like on the post and everything like that. Were you always like that, or did you kind of have to like, build up that confidence at first? Or
I'll say like there was definitely a time where like I would look at other people's Instagram posts and be like, oh, my stuff is different. Oh, maybe I should conform or switch to this way or try that. Like it's working for them, this, and that. But then I started realizing like me as myself, like I'm really special, and that's what companies are looking for. They're looking for people. That's what other people are looking for too. People get inspired when they see somebody like just stepping out and being their authentic, true self, no matter how it shows up. And once I realized that, I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna be me, frills and all.
do you have any tips for anyone starting off being in front of the camera that's kind of like nervous or just putting out content in general? We always like to ask like our content creators, like, well, it's like what's one general piece of advice you would give someone just starting out?
Let's see. I would say just starting out, one thing for sure is a lot of people are not comfortable in front of the camera or in front of video. So sometimes it's because they just don't look at themselves enough in the mirror. Like get familiar with yourself, like take time to like see what your smile looks like. Like I know what my smile looks like if I'm looking in a mirror or not. Like I know I could be like, I'm ready to go. It's like get comfortable with yourself, and also just do it. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. Like the best stuff is the things that are when you're having fun and you're just exploring. And that's also the key, is having fun. It's not like forget about perfectionism. Just have fun what you're doing and make sure you're staying true to yourself, and just get familiar with yourself as well. And don't get too caught up in doing 5 million takes either.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm not going to say only do one take, but like just do what's a comfortable amount, and then just say, okay, this is it. I'm going to work from what's here. I'm not going to do 100, because you don't need to do 100, because it's like if you did 10, and it came out a certain way. It's like, just pick from that, work with who you are in this moment.
Yeah, or be able to, like, I guess, walk away from it, come back to it later, like, not overthink the process of it. I know, like, posting and, like, I know for me, I really don't do too much anymore, but, like, you just overthink every aspect of it. Like, I have friends, like, I want to start posting. I'm like, the only thing I can say is just do it. Like, just do it. I was like, I promise you, like, the things that you're worrying about, other people thinking about your video, you're the only one that's thinking that. Like, people are going to watch your video and enjoy it for what it is if you just give off that you love what you do. And
it's like I had one reel that I did that went like super viral, and it's like I just did it really quickly in the airport. Like it was just like something I did on the side, and then it went viral. It's like I just it was a quick post. I didn't think too much into it, and the Instagram gods blessed me that day, and that was that. And you never know. Yeah,
I feel like you just gotta be consistent, and at times you're gonna get awarded for the consistency. Sometimes it'll be because you just had a stellar idea, but really no explaining.
Exactly.
There's no method to the madness.
Yeah, it's just like it's just stick with it and don't overthink it, because sometimes it's like you'll put a whole bunch of work into doing one post and you're like, oh, this is gonna be great, guys. I know it. And he's like, I spent hours editing it and all this, and then there's like 5 views, but it's like, it's okay. Just you tell yourself it's okay. Don't cry and just move on to the next thing. It's like just keep doing it. Keep showing up.
Do you edit all your content yourself?
I do, pretty much. Like, unless I have a photo shoot, which sometimes I do, but most of it I edit myself. Like, if it's reels or videos, it's like, that's just me. And most of the photos are me as well.
People that are like starting video editing, do you have like any advice?
Just find apps that work for you. Like, I'm not even the most advanced with it. I do the simplest sort of stuff, but find apps that work for you. It's like you can do it on your phone or you can do it on your computer, whatever you want to do. I do everything just on my phone. It's just easier for me. And just take the clips that you need and combine them, find trending music. It's the best I can. I'm not the best advice person for videos.
But you've been doing it, which is awesome.
But it's about finding what works for you, and don't make it too complicated, because once it's too complicated or there's too many steps or it's going to take too much time, then it's like, then you start to not want to do it.
How do you like shut off social media? Do you ever shut off social media? Or are you always on looking for trending stuff? Or like, how do you balance social media like within your life?
I just find, while being present, because I like to be present in the current moment, and then there's also sometimes you see something, you're like, oh, I want to capture that. But it's about finding the moment. So it's like, maybe I'm on a hike with friends. It's like, I don't need to capture every single beautiful tree. It's like, sometimes I won't even do anything. And my friends will be like, oh, Phyllicia, do you want a picture? I'm like, okay, like I'll take a quick picture, whatever, but not doing too much. So it's like finding the right moments. It's like, if I'm with friends and family, it's like, what's important for me in that moment? And that's connecting with my friends and family. If I'm intentionally doing something where I'm like, okay, I want to capture this, then I do that. But also with friends and family, I could do something as well, but just do it quick. It's it's not one of those moments if I'm with a friend or family that I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, okay, let's take this picture.
Yeah.
Okay, again, this angle, it's like, no, just take a quick picture. If it works out, it works out. If not, it's fine.
Yeah. I really feel it's like about documenting the moment, not so much about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and it will come out more organic, I'm sure.
And it comes back to like just eliminating perfectionism, just being in the present moment and being happy with, where you are at that moment.
Yeah, because I'm sure even when you do pull your phone out around the family, I'm like, for some people, their family members could be like, oh, here we go. Like, we're going to spend an hour getting the perfect video. But then for you, could just be like, just a real quick thing, feels organic anyway. So they're not even thinking like, oh, this is some content for her.
Yeah, I definitely try not to do something that's like too, if I'm including friends or family, I try not to make it too complex. Even like on my page, I have like some acro stuff with friends, and they happen to be yogis that are influencers too. But for me, the point of those is capturing the connection and the fun aspect of it and the lightheartedness. So it's not about like, I'll do maybe 5 takes, maybe. Sometimes we'll just do 2. Sometimes it'll just be 1 and we got it. But it's about capturing that moment and not like going so far deep into being perfect, because within the imperfections and the falls and the laughter, like that's where the beauty is.
Oh, 100%.
Is there anything that you look out for when like a brand or company comes to you? Like, are you accepting in everything, or do you look for something in?
I make sure
companies?
that it's things that'll align with me, because my followers, like I've had followers that were there from when I had like 5K followers. So for me, it's very important for me to stay aligned to who I am and what resonates with me. And if it's a brand that, let's say, for example, like I use natural deodorant. So if a brand that isn't a natural deodorant reaches out to me, regardless of how much they're offering me, I will not accept it, because that does not align with who I am. Because my followers, they're looking to me because they're inspired by how I live my life and how I'm stepping out and how I'm exploring wellness in myself. And if I'm like accepting something that's false, it doesn't help them. But also, let's say I accept something like that, then another company that's actually all about like clean beauty or whatnot could be looking and be like, oh, she did that, crappy brand. I don't want to work with her. And it's like they would have been actually a better brand for me to pair with.
So you said you have followers from like back in the day, from like when you had like 5,000 followers. What's like your key to like building a community of like followers?
Authenticity, engaging. So it doesn't mean answering every single DM. Like I definitely do not answer every single DM. I cannot. If I wanted to live my life and be happy, it would just not work. Yeah. But I definitely do engage, and I read all the messages myself. So let's say if I notice a reoccurring question, instead of answering it to each individual person, let's say I often get asked about my necklaces. I'm not going to just like sit and DM each individual person. I'll just post it on my story like, hey guys, check out my necklaces. It's from blah, 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 and that way they know that I read the message and I'm answering them, I'm engaging in them without having like a back and forth conversation. Yeah. So that's definitely key. And also engaging in the comments of my post, that builds like a community and also where they feel connected. Because it's like if you just post something and there's no engagement, and most of the time I'll tend to ask questions in my post in the captions as well. So it's like if I'm asking a question and I'm not engaging with them, it's like empty.
Do you feel like you built like a safe community for your followers, that they can go on your post and comment and like not have to worry about maybe someone else going on there and just being a negative light?
For the most part, I will say my followers tend to be really amazing. Like I have a majority of my followers are female, and then I have a small percentage that's men, but everybody is very respectful. And unless I will say I do have followers that if somebody like comes at me, they will defend me. I won't even have to defend myself. They'll be like, good. Well, and they'll go at them. But that's for awesome. The most part, like everybody's very respectful.
That's good.
Yeah, because we were talking to Shadi Sin when she came on the podcast, and she was saying she got like a lot of like nasty comments and things like that.
Yeah.
And, like,
that's why I asked, because I know some influencers. I mean, and it depends on the industry you're in. But obviously, some industries come with a lot more negativity from people. But
it's like I will say recently, like I had a post where it was about body positivity. So there was a few posts. One was a dinner that I went to that was literally a nude dinner. That had some interesting comments. Like people just they didn't quite understand what was going on. They're like, why did you post this? Blah, 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 blah. But I tried my best to make it a safe space so that people aren't like fighting or using hateful words.
Yeah. It's a lot. The internet could be a good place, a bad place. It's definitely just a place.
People tend to be very bold, behind a keyboard or a screen.
Yeah.
So when you have a post that you might have in your head, like, all right, some people may or may not love this one. Like, is there like a voice inside your head that's like, no, this is still me. I want to put it out there for the people.
It all depends. Like, because my Instagram, it's me, but it's also like a virtual workspace in essence too. So it's like I can't necessarily, like my stories, I can post more things, but on my page, it definitely is curated. Like I can't just slap anything up there. So I do have to be mindful, like what is the intention behind it? What am I trying to say? And am I saying it in the best way possible? So I try to look at all those different things.
Have you had a favorite like photo shoot that you've done?
I'll say the most recent one was my sister, because she's an influencer, but she also does photography like amazingly. And we were in Yosemite hiking, and she did a photo shoot of me like on top at the peak at the summit at sunset, and it was like really beautiful. And I was nude, like I just felt like really comfortable in the element. The sunset sky was like perfect. It's one of my favorite things to experience. And yeah, so that was my favorite, most recent shoot.
That's awesome. That's crazy.
Yeah, because it's like I'm like
that hike must have been crazy.
Yeah, because like photo shoots in studios are cool, but it's like I like experiences and like being in the element. So yeah.
How was that hike?
Oh, it was beautiful. I love hiking.
Yeah, not to the summit too. That's wild. You want to hop into some rapid fire questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so we do a segment on our podcast where we just hit you with a few rapid fire questions. Feel free to answer them however you want.
Okay.
Favorite food?
Asparagus.
Biggest inspiration?
The human body.
Is there like a dream person you want to collaborate with?
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry.
Your favorite way to waste time? Well, not waste time. I feel like that's you know what I mean?
Is it your favorite way to like spend
time
off?
like aimlessly. Do you have any aimless guilty pleasures?
TMI, masturbating.
That's awesome.
Clip that, Benny.
That's the one.
Oh, I love it.
I love it. I love the openness. I love the candor.
Oh man.
There you go.
Favorite pair of shoes?
I have these white boots from Cult Gaia, and they have like these circle heel things.
Favorite yoga brand?
Aloe Yoga.
Ooh.
Any like dream content you want to do in the future? Podcast, show?
I'm not sure. I'm like just open up. I'm open to it all.
What's one piece of advice you would give your younger self?
That it's okay to feel.
Piece of advice you would give your older self?
That it's okay to feel.
That's fine with us.
Yeah, it is. What's one thing you want to accomplish in 2023?
I plan to write a book, so I'm working on that. Also a children's book as well.
Is there a dream place you want to travel to?
Paris, I have not been yet.
What's one piece of advice for someone that that thinks that yoga is intimidating?
To just do it, and that you don't have to be flexible to do yoga, but you gain flexibility through the practice.
You've been to a nude beach before?
I have.
What's the feeling like? Like,
Well,
is it just like a free
I've
feeling?
only been to a nude beach in Jersey, and it's a little skeevy in Jersey.
I was not expecting you to say
There's one in Jersey? Where in Jersey is it?
Gunnison.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
That's
it's a little
crazy.
skeevy there, but
Have you been to one that you liked?
that's the only nude. Like I've been like in other country, like, you know, but it's not necessarily a nude. It's just that it's okay to be nude.
It's okay. It's accepted.
So it's a different sort of feel. Where in Gunnison, it's like there's just a lot of guys, and they're just like once the top comes off, they're like, oh,
They're all just like binoculars.
yeah,
That's crazy. I didn't even know that existed.
I had no idea.
Not in Jersey, at least.
yeah.
Oh, damn. Where can the people find out more about you?
They can find out more about me at Phyllicia.Victoria on Instagram, and also my website, which is linked on my Instagram.
Any words of wisdom or a quote right into that camera to the people?
Just have fun. Like, you know, we get so caught up in the things that we have to do that we forget sometimes to have fun. And just laugh, smile, enjoy the company, connect with different people, learn and explore.
Phyllicia Victoria, everyone.
Awesome.